What if I told you that the most talked about high school football team on the planet right now isn't really a high school football team? I'm talking, of course, about the Bishop Sycamore Centurions, the scam of a team taking the sports world and the internet by storm. So what exactly is the story here? What's going on with Bishop Sycamore? Did a bishop named Sycamore even ever exist? We're gonna break it all down for you. So sit back, relax, and take this in. The public at large first caught wind of Bishop Sycamore when the Ohio-based school was trounced 58-0 by Florida-based powerhouse IMG Academy a couple weeks ago. That game was broadcast on ESPN, who thought they were televising a game between two programs stocked with top recruits as the finale of their high school kickoff series. A weekend of high school games meant to showcase major programs and future collegiate stars.
Bishop Sycamore told us they had a number of Division I prospects on their roster. To be frank, a lot of that we could not verify. From what we've seen so far, this is not a fair fight, and there's got to be a point now, Luke, where you do worry about health and safety.
After the nationally televised loss to IMG, questions began to arise about this futile program that somehow landed one of the nation's toughest 2021 schedule. And as those questions were answered, teams set to play Bishop Sycamore later this season all canceled those upcoming contests. For one, it was revealed that the Centurions had played just 2 days prior to their game against IMG, and that the nationally televised blowout loss was the team's third game in 10 days. 3 games they lost by a combined score of 115-7. That's a perfect segue to our new Take This In trivia segment, where today we're asking, what was the biggest blowout in U.S. high school football history? The correct answer is 256-0, as Haven, Kansas High School beat Sylvia, Kansas High by that score in 1927. Before we get back to today's topic, I do want to remind you to not be like Sylvia, Kansas High. Join the winning team by subscribing to this channel if you haven't already, and tell your friends to do the same. Alright, now back to the show. As CBS and others uncovered, Sycamore's roster contained players who could be found on rosters for other schools or who had apparently already graduated high school. The presence of overage has-beens, the absence of talented recruits, the blowout losses, and the frequency with which the Centurions played weren't the only discrepancies being exposed in the days following the blowout loss to IMG.
That's right, Canton police confirmed that the Fairfield Inn & Suites in Canton filed a report against the team last weekend. The hotel alleged that the team used counterfeit checks to pay for its stay during its matchup against the IMG Academy. In the police report, they say they received over $3,500 in bad checks.
School director Andre Peterson fired head coach Roy Johnson after the loss to IMG, and Ohio's governor even ordered a state investigation into the program. It was also discovered that Johnson has a bench warrant out for failing to appear in a domestic violence case, eventually dropped to a criminal mischief charge, and that he's been the subject of both a fraud investigation and civil lawsuits related to allegedly failing to pay back a bank loan and owing more than $100,000 to a hotel he housed players in back in 2018. As if that's not enough, former Sycamore players told Complex that Johnson and his coaching staff ripped plays off of Madden.
I think my head's gonna explode just trying to think about that.
As for how Johnson, Peterson, and company ever got players to commit in the first place, ex-players claim they were promised they'd be joining an up-and-coming team that was getting its own Netflix show, would be practicing at Ohio State's facilities, and would become the IMG of the Midwest. Instead, the only documentaries coming related to the program are celebrity-funded ones looking into the Gong Show. The team practiced outside an apartment complex some Ohio State players lived in, and the future IMG of the Midwest ended up playing in the Texas Christian League's Division 6A, which is open to teams outside of Texas. Bishop Sycamore was supposed to be based in Ohio, but was never part of the Ohio High School Athletic Association, and a former OHSAA investigator says he noticed irregularities as far back as 2017, when the school was known as Christians of Faith Academy. An example of said irregularities? No school existed at the address Christians of Faith's 750-person school used as an address, which led to Ohio revoking COF's school charter. While operating as Christians of Faith, the school was also accused of using a church's name to nab donations and sell insurance. With everything out in the open, new Centurions head coach Tyron Jackson now admits that Bishop Sycamore is not a school, but rather a post-grad football academy, and that the misconception was simply due to a mistake in paperwork. In case any of you actually believe that, however, I'll have you know that the program's now defunct website used to display a logo that clearly stated Bishop Sycamore High School. I don't think that has anything to do with just a mistake in paperwork. And as reported by USA Today, Bishop Sycamore described itself in a report filed with Ohio's Department of Education as an innovative, academically accredited school and one of the best academic institutions in the country. No one knows what happens next. Could charges be coming? What potentially darker secrets might a state investigation uncover? Will the Centurions ever play another game, whether as Bishop Sycamore or under some other ridiculous moniker? Oh yeah, and about that name. No, there's no record of a Bishop Sycamore having ever existed. But Peterson claims the bishop refers to himself. ESPN, for its part, released a statement expressing regret and shifting the blame to Paragon Marketing Group, which it says secured the matchup and handles the majority of ESPN's high school events. In any event, the network and the viewers that tuned in clearly aren't the first people to be duped by Bishop Sycamore. Hopefully though, they'll be the last.